Good morning, everyone. The 2027 Creffective collection just launched. And before I spend any money, I'd like to walk through with you and share what I'm considering buying and what I'm actually personally going to be skipping. I've been using my A5 Momentum, which is the Creffective 2026 weekly planner now for a little while, and I absolutely love it. I call it my Momentum Archive. So I thought it would be fun to look at the new collection from the perspective of someone who actually uses these planners every day. I also do have the A6 Daily that I've been using for my Korean learning. And so let's look at what's new, what I'm considering buying. So take your coffee and let's go through the collection here together. All right. So this year I feel it's more refined than completely reinvented. There are some new pieces, which I'm excited about. And one thing I do like, though, is that when a company has a product that you actually like, then I actually like the approach that it's refined and not completely redesigned. Because when you find a planner that you enjoy, the system works, the layout works, sometimes small improvements are great versus a completely intentional dramatic overhaul. So let's take a look here at the 2027 collection. Now, if you use weekly inserts, I personally don't, but the layout is great because, again, if you have your own binder, your own cover that you enjoy using, this is a really great system and you've got the sheets already laid out, hole punched, everything set to go. So right now we're looking at the 2027 weekly printed inserts. So this would be like a hobonichi week size or a sterling ink N2, but the weekly's great. Narrower, easier to carry. This is good. But again, for myself, I'm not ordering any inserts. So if you love inserts, take your time and I'm curious to see what you're going to pick up. Now let's see here. Okay, so actually continuing on the weekly discussion, here's the 2027 weekly notebook. It's in my maybe list for this year. Again, like I shared, I do like the size. It's easy to throw in your purse and make some notes when you're out and about. The weekly notebooks, now they come in what colors this year? It looks like we've got the real black and the beige gray. If you want something lighter or a bit darker, the layout is great. I like that it mirrors what I have in the weekly, but again, it's a little narrower, more compact. This is a nice everyday carry size. So they're not too thick. It's when they get to 500 pages, I find they can be a little heavier to throw in your purse or your bag for every day. But if I get this one, I think I would do the real black. And so you can definitely take a look through the website to see the layouts, which is great. This is what I really love. I like the fact that you can have the first half of the day on the left side. You've got room for priorities, your to-dos. And then on the right side, I often, in any of the notebooks in my Hobonichi weeks or in the Sterling ink that I've used, I often did this exact same thing on the right side. Because if you track, say, for example, your fitness or your nutrition, or you want to make notes for the evening or the other half of the day, morning could be your to dos, the right side could be appointments. I was always writing in another column on the right hand side. So this is very attractive to me. That's why I really appreciate this layout. It's nice and clean. You've got the month layout ahead, so you know exactly what week you're in. This one really does appeal to me. You've got grid note pages in the back. So that's the weekly. This is in my maybe pile. Now let's go to the weekly notebook, passport size. So if you want really compact, itty bitty, this is a great size to carry with you. The 2027 weekly notebook passport size comes in pink and beige gray. Oops, let's see here. So, and the size on the passport, it's quite tiny. It's 3.5 by 4.9 inches or 89 by 125 millimeters. Definitely purse size, pocket size, great to carry around. This notebook has, how many pages does this one have? 208 pages. There we go. And just to mention, all the Creffectives start on Monday Start. I've been using Monday Start for almost 10 years, or if not longer. It took me a while to get used to it at first, but now I absolutely love it. I won't use anything else. So the layout of the Passport Weekly is very similar to the weeks. And again, you've got both sides of the page to write on and then the extra column. I absolutely love this layout. I tend to lean more towards A6 versus Passport. because I like a lot of real estate. I need a bit more writing space. So that's just how I work. All right, so let's go back and see what else we have here. Let's just another peek at inserts here. So the pre-order of the 2027 monthly printed inserts are available here for personal size or pocket size. All right. Now we're getting to my favorite section here. So there's some newer items, or I should say new sizes in some previously released items. So let's look at the Daily Notebook A6 size. So I actually have this one. I love that it comes in the black, green, and pink. So here is mine, and this is a great book. I don't carry mine around with me because, like I shared, this one has 512 pages. I find it to be a little thicker than I'd like. I mean, but for an A6, it's very, very compact. And the layout's great. You've got lots of room for a full page to write. But one of the things I prefer when I carry is a vertical layout so I can visually see what's coming up ahead for appointments. However, if you're a strictly horizontal planner, this is a fabulous, fabulous book. Absolutely love it. So this is in my maybe pile again, if I choose to continue doing my language learning in this size, because currently I have it in my language learning in 2 books, and I'll talk more about that. If you go to my Korean video, language video, you'll see why. But yeah, colors are great. It comes in the pink, the green, real black, great layout. You've got the quarterly overviews, really good there for a tracker, for appointments, grid pages at the back, really nice everyday carry booklet. Now, the dailies, this is something new. I think B6 is new this year for the daily notebooks, which is really nice to have. Now, the A6 are those available, and I think B6 and A5 are new this year. And so if I were to get a daily, I would probably go for the B6. Even with it being a thicker book, this one has 424 pages. The thickness of this one is 20 millimeters. If I just quickly go back to the A6 daily, also 20 millimeters. So they're the same thickness. So for me, I prefer around 12 to 15 millimeters. I like the thinner notebooks. But if you like again, this wonderful paper makes the books a bit thicker. It's a dream to write on. So let's just go back here to the B6 size. So the B6 comes in real black, green, and sky blue. So nice new colors, I think, for this year. And let's just take a quick look at them here. So that's a picture of the blue. It's a very pretty color. And again, so I like more room on the monthlies. That's what I really prefer. Um, and so just showing, the dailies here, probably one of the bigger changes is the sizing, which is nice to have. So expanded lineup. The thing I immediately noticed though is that thickness that I mentioned. So this might be great for some folks. If it's perfect for you, I highly recommend this one. For me personally, it probably would be too much. If I were to, what I would do is do my language learning in one of these dailies and leave that at home. That is what I'm considering. Over the A6, I'm likely leaning towards the B6 daily, and that'll be my language learning. That actually, I think, is the way I'm going towards. And I'd likely probably stay with a green for this one. I really love the green. This one's definitely the short list. Now, again, I'm always thinking, is this something I'm going to use before I buy? And I want to make sure that I'm not just buying more planners than I need, because I have done that in the past and had them just sit there. Quick look at the A5 daily. And this one comes in deep brown, sky blue, and beige gray. Now, I really love the deep brown, but I'm going to hold off on the A5 here, and I'll share why in just a moment. And this one's same 20 millimeter thickness. The covers are soft. I really love these soft covers. This one's blending in with my shirt, but it's a great one. So really good quality covers. I love the paper. As I shared, it's just wonderful to write on and opens completely flat. Fabulous. Now, let's get to my favorites. And here are the two that I know I'm buying absolutely for sure. So this one's easy for me. I've already shared that I'm using the A5 Weekly, and that is my Momentum Archive. What I do with this planner, and I've been quite consistent in it, I know it works and I know that I'll use it. And as I said, I'm trying not to buy planners I don't use. And that's one of my biggest rules right now moving forward. And so this is where, for this one, definitely the brown is catching my eye. I'm going to go with a deep brown. It feels rich, it feels classic. When I archive them and they're on the shelf future forward, they'll just look beautiful. The ivory is also quite nice, but I'm leaning towards the brown for sure. And it feels like something I'd enjoy using every day, as I've continued to do with this one here. So this one now, the reason again, slightly thinner books, not considerably so, but I find it's perfect for me. And let's just take a quick flip through here. There's the ivory. The ivory is quite nice as well. The ivory, one thing to mention, if you are leaning towards the brown, actually, oh, it's noted right here. The brown has a gold foil like the blue A5 from 2026. The beige has there, I don't know if you could see, instead of the gold popping out, it's embossed in. So that's really quite elegant as well. So again, it just depends on personal preference there. And this is the layout that I just absolutely adore. It's wider than the weeks because you have that column, almost half the page roughly, if not slightly over, on both sides, which is fabulous. Here it is there. I do love seeing the week at a glance when I go back and review how my week went, what I want this week to be, and then obviously my momentum. So the way I track in it right now, and just take a look at my other video. On the left side, it's really future direction, mindset, aspirations. I do use my priorities and my to-dos, but a little differently than I do in my everyday planner. And then on the right is the momentum and the magic and all the good things that happened that week. I can look back and see what actions I've taken and what's come together. It's really motivating, really inspiring. If you find you're not always looking at your successes or you celebrate for a second and move on again, it's a really good reminder to see how far we've come. I really love that one. No question, I'm getting this in the A5. Just move back here. A5 in deep brown. Weekly notebook. This is a yes. I'll be ordering this one. Now, something else that really caught my eye this year is this 5-week diary. So it'll be the same size. It's an A6, 2027 to 2023. This might be a surprise product for me. I wasn't expecting to be interested in this, and I do like the idea. I have a 5-year notebook that I use. However, this one's a daily, and I like the idea of the weekly because then when you look back on your week, like I do, and do a quick review, there may be 2 or 3 things from that week that jump out that you really want to record and note. I think it's much more realistic. Sometimes it's hard to do a daily note if you're doing a 5-year planner and you have other books on the go. So it's not asking me to journal every day, but it's asking for some consistency. So at some point in the week, there might be one day that you really want to make a note of, or there's enough space based on this layout that you could do almost a line a day. And this one also comes in the deep brown. That's really nice. Let me just zoom in here. It looks like there's 6 lines per each year. You could almost do a line a day, or again, pick a few days out of the week if there's something you want to note. And it goes from 2027 to 2031. Imagine that, my goodness. It's easy to be consistent in this because it's not every day. And there might be one day you want to pick it up and make a note of something that day. Now, if you have a need for more space, you've got room for more on the right-hand side. It's a blank grid page. So this is great. There might be one week that in a certain year you want to make a special note, put a photo in there. So this is really nice. All right, so that is what we're seeing for the lineup. There's also clear covers, and these come in handy if you want to protect your book. And so that is my quick glance at the 2027 collection. And what I am skipping, as I mentioned this year, that look great, but the dailies are still a maybe for me. They don't quite fit my current planning system unless I commit to that being my language learning book for next year, which is a possibility. And then it's a matter of B6 or A5. What I've learned that buying for fantasy for me usually doesn't work. I need to actually have a purpose for it before I purchase a planner so I know what I'm going to be doing with it. And so I'm buying now for the real life me. The one thing I've been thinking about lately is that planning isn't really about planners. It's about making better decisions. Planner is just the tool. The real question is whether the system helps you build a life that actually works. And so here's the questions I ask myself now. What will I actually use? What will reduce friction? And what does support my goals? These are my first impressions of the 2027 Creffective launch. Right now, I'm definitely leaning towards another A5 weekly. That's my momentum archive. And I'm debating the 5-year diary. So I'd love to know what you're ordering. Are you buying something or are you skipping? And what planner system are you currently using? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.